another sleepless year for Insomniac Games, as its two massive sequels, Ratchet & Clank All for One and Resistance 3, prepare to drop within mere months of each other.
And now for something truly awesome!
And all the buzz surrounding them has even us fans losing sleep. To get the inside scoop, we met with Chief Insomniac and all-around gaming industry good guy, Ted Price, who let us tour Insomniac's Burbank, California digs right as Resistance 3 receives its finishing touches. Back when Insomniac was founded in 1994, did you have any idea of the kind of future you would have as a game company?
Nope, none. And well, first of all, I knew nothing about making games. We just knew that we wanted to make games. And we kept on trying and pushing really hard and failing, and we had a roller coaster ride for the first few years. In fact, all the way I think through Spyro 2, we were constantly up and down wondering if we're going to be in business the next year. And then finally, there was a point where things started to click.
You were really known for family-friendly games like Spyro and Ratchet & Clank. What made you decide to kind of pivot and do a first-person shooter, sci-fi shooter like Resistance?
Well, I think what a lot of people forget is that our first game was a first-person shooter. And it was a dark first-person shooter. It was called Disruptor for the PlayStation 1. It was, in some sense, kind of cheesy. We did these FMVs that were horribly cheesy and, in retrospect, really funny.
School's over, and now the real lessons begin.
But with Resistance, we're going back to our roots, and it was really a reward for a lot of us who are first-person shooter fans to have the chance to do a dark and very gritty first-person shooter.
Do you think there's a big crossover between fans of Resistance and fans of Ratchet & Clank?
I think there's some crossover, especially since Ratchet has been around for so long.
They grew up with it.
They did grow up with it, and they graduated to Resistance, so we have a lot of longtime fans.
What would you say makes your games really unique?
I would probably say it's the weapons. We're known for crazy, outlandish weapons that you just don't see in other games, and that holds true for both Ratchet and Resistance, which are at the opposite end of the spectrum when it comes to content.
How would you describe the creative process here?
It's a totally collaborative process from beginning to end. We thrive on the idea that anybody at any level of the company can come up with an idea for a game, a feature in a game, story, character, and basically get it in.
Earlier today we saw a tour of people walking around, and we've also noticed that your recruitment videos are hilarious. Who came up with those?
That's our HR group. Chris Stathis, who is part of our HR group, has been here for a long time.
Prepare yourself for the meal of the century.
Super creative guy, very, very funny guy. He actually does stand-up comedy on the weekends.
Call me today.
As Chris promises in the videos, there's no shortage of perks for hard-working Insomniacs.
What's great about this particular office in Burbank is that we're surrounded by a lot of really cool stuff. Right downstairs, we've got a mini golf course. We've got the gym that people here work out at. Got a basketball court. So it's structured around providing entertainment for people.
Copious amounts of coffee, of course, weren't the only thing we wanted to find brewing when we wandered around the studio. What's Insomniac working on in the near future?
Well, we're about to release Resistance 3 and Ratchet & Clank All for One. And those are two huge titles that we've been working on for almost 3 years now. So we're really excited about the leaps that both have taken over the predecessors. Resistance 3, in my opinion, is the best looking game we've ever done. Ratchet All for One is also just beautiful and offers the 4-player online co-op, which is unique for Ratchet, and something that we know fans have been asking for quite a while. What's great is that you get to play 4 key figures in the Ratchet universe. You get Ratchet, Clank, Quark, my favorite, and Nefarious.
We've heard the term selfish collaboration thrown around a little bit with Ratchet and Clank. What does that mean exactly?
Well, in Ratchet & Clank, you're all working towards an ultimate objective, but along the way, there's a lot of competition in between players.
This one's mine.
So you get to fight for the most bolts, get more bolts than your buddies, you get better weapons. You get to grief each other, so throw each other off the cliffs. And we've had a lot of focus tests here where we've watched kids come in and all they want to do is just throw each other off the cliff. It's awesome.
Getting back to Resistance 3 a little bit, it's such a huge series for the PS3. How do you keep the momentum going after so many years?
Well, with Resistance 3, we got a lot of fan feedback before we began it, and we saw how people felt about Resistance 1 and Resistance 2, and there were some things that people loved and some things that people wanted us to address. And so we did with Resistance 3.
What is Insomniac bringing to Resistance 3 that's different?
One big difference that people will see is that our multiplayer matches are smaller. We found that with smaller matches, there are a lot more personal grudges that tend to arise. And I don't know about you, but I like to be able to find the person that just headshot me, right? I want to go find that person, track him down, and take him out to get my revenge. And it's hard to do that when you have a lot of players in a level. Plus, we've added new berserks, we've added a lot of new abilities that you can earn that, again, add this layer of strategy that I think brings something very fresh to the table in terms of the genre.
Any plans of integrating move support into this title?
Yes, actually we have integrated move support into Resistance. We're supporting the sharpshooter, which is the new peripheral that has the move controller in it, and we also have 3D.
With neither game out till later this fall, that's all we could shake out of Ted this trip, which left us time for a little TED Talk. Our humble host is more than just a hotshot indie developer. Ted is vice chair of the Academy of Interactive Arts and Sciences. Think Oscars for games. And he's also one of the most outspoken opponents of anti-video game laws. If gamers want to get involved, help fight the good fight, what can they do?
The best thing gamers can do is join the Video Game Voters Network. It's an organization that keeps gamers apprised of what's going on both at the national and the state level, and it's a great way for gamers to actually write their congressmen and tell them that they are unhappy with these unconstitutional laws.
For someone looking to get into the gaming industry, what kind of advice would you give them?
The best advice I can offer is figure out what you love to do. If you're into design, if you're passionate about art, if you're a great programmer, pursue those as far as you can in terms of your schooling, and then start looking for jobs in the industry. And if you can't get a programmer job or an artist job, join a QA team. One of the best educations in the world can be had if you are a part of a quality assurance team.
How do you even start a game company? If you're not already within the industry, well, how do you do it?
I think today is very different. Today you read books, you look on the web. Back then, 17 years ago, there weren't any rules, and I think that made it easier for us because we weren't second-guessing ourselves constantly. It was just, hey, we're doing what we think is right. Nobody's said that you have to do it some other way. Let's do it. So today, there probably aren't any rules either. I don't know. I mean, everybody does it their own way. There's so many options for people in terms of how you make games and what you're going to make. I think it's still the Wild West.